Well, hello there, and this is a wonderful Wednesday, and I am so glad that you are here to be with us on Rediscovering Your Passion and Purpose with Patty. And I am your hostess with the mostest, Pathfinder Patty herself. And I am the Chief Pathfinder of Pathways with Patty. Today, another very special guest is joining me, and her name is Radavie, and she is a servant of inner peace and an emissary of messages from the divine sparks, the essence of our soul. She considers her childhood wounds to be a blessing as they have enabled her to empathize with the tribulations of the human condition. Her mission is to keep her soul's agreement to help others to live in inner peace. She ardently serves the divine spark within each of us. Messages from the divine spark, along with her freedom explorations for living in inner peace, are the subject of her soon-to-be published book entitled Awaken to Inner Peace in the Midst of Chaos. Radavie is devoted to serve those who are ready to unveil inner peace in the midst of our chaotic world and to become liberated from human conditioning. Radavie, it is a pleasure and a joy to have you here today. How are you doing?
I am so doing well. It's so wonderful, Patty, to be here with you and your listeners and see how we can serve each other. Your listeners and me too. We're serving the divine. So let's open our hearts, all of us, and allow whatever it is that consciousness wants to bring through us or bring through me so you can hear and listen from your heart space.
I love that. And I know when you and I met for our pre-podcast time together, one of the things that I had never heard before was the term divine spark. And on this post-it note that I have right here on my desk, since that day that you and I met, I wrote divine spark and I outlined it because it really resonates with me. Like I said, I had never heard it before or ever put in those terms. And yet there's something so attracting to that because a lot of people talk about the divine spirit or, the divine. They'll just leave it at that. But I love divine spark because I know in my beliefs and in my belief system that is what I feel like the divine is for me. It is a spark in my life. So with that, I certainly, I'm so looking forward to our conversation and for you to share the same information that you shared with me in our original meeting together, to share more about the divine spark in each one of us and what that means. So tell us, about your journey, your life's path on
Well,
getting to discover the divine spark.
okay, so when you mentioned this is the first time you've ever heard the name, guess what? It
Hmm.
was the very first time I ever heard the name when they told me.
Well, and
And
you're paying it forward.
yes. And then I realized that there are other people from a higher frequency who knew about the divine spark. So let's take it from the top.
Hmm.
How did I get to that place? I mean, it's such an amazing gratitude, gratitudinal feeling that I have that I've come from a wounding. Because my childhood, my mother was my greatest teacher. Didn't know that then, but that's where the major wounding came from. And being
Hmm.
a highly sensitive person, which I didn't know I was then, and that's why I was feeling everything. I held away. I stepped back from all of my memories. I said, "That's not me. I'm growing up. I'm now a teenager or something. That was me then. I'm not connected with that." And time goes by, and of course, I was going through a very painful relationship. in early early 40s or late 30s. And oh God, it was so painful. I wanted to hide in the smallest place I could find and lock away.
Mm.
And there's a mystical moment that my little girl stood right in front of me. My eyes are open, and I have never seen such sadness. I'm
Mm.
touched to tears. She looked straight into my eyes, not saying anything with the saddest face. And I was really taken back. I thought, well, I'm really not connected with her. But she was there for 3 weeks when I had a chance to see her. And there was a time I remember I got angry and I said, I don't want to see you, just go away. I mean, I
Wow.
remember saying that. And after 3 weeks, there was a knowingness that I had to connect with her. I didn't know how to do it.
Uh-huh.
So I found out after a while, I went to someone who, about in my little outer circle, I hear that she does all kinds of different things, massage and other things, and I didn't know anybody else who did other things.
Uh-huh.
So, so I went to her, and she said, it's going to be really easy for you because you're ready. You called and say you want to connect. She thought it was going to be easy.
You proved her
But
wrong, huh?
no. Well, now consider that I had locked everything inside of me.
Mm.
There was a major, major lock box called shame and whatever it is and judgment, all that pain.
Mm.
So she said, okay, I want you to be comfortable, take a few breaths, and just tell me what comes up. Immediately something came up. And I thought, you want me to tell you what just came up that I've never talked about.
Get
It
ready.
was so funny.
Be
And
careful what you ask for, right?
and there was a part, it took me 20 minutes, about 20 minutes to actually say, because there was another part of me, and I think this was my soul saying to me, you came here for something and you can't leave without it.
Right. Wow.
Okay. And so I told her, and I thought, you mean she's not shocked that I was molested at 5 years old? You're not shocked? It's like I asked her for a glass of water, and I thought, oh my God. But here's the key. When I told her, my emotions started to express itself because it was locked down. So my emotions was like the Velcro that trapped the memories that I had stored away. And I knew at that time, my soul knew I needed to do myself own self healing. So I got to learn in that moment. My tears are very important to cry out or to express it. Let my heart feel whatever it is we're feeling, whether yawning or coughing or ranting. And several years I went through my healing.
Mm.
And while I was going through that, I understood about the human conditioning. I can't
Wow.
explain to anybody because it was locked away there waiting because my soul came in with its own blueprint and my soul came in with its own agreement. But the little mindset here had no idea about that. And it was a very powerful recognition. And after that, I started to help clients for 30 years to to release their childhood wounds because that's what happened with me with
Wow.
great success. I had so many, um, you know, it's people of all men, women, children, all of it. And then when my soul decided, okay, you become a master of that, now we're going to give you the topping.
Mm.
The cake is made, but we need we
You need
need
the
this
frosting.
rice. We need the frosting. Little my mind had no idea. Then came the messages from the divine spark. And I got to learn through those messages that the divine spark is the essence of our soul. As divine sparks, we are one flame of the divine, one flame of God. We are all a spark from that one flame. And I'd like you listeners to just take a moment and just sink that in.
Mm.
Because we are all one. We are different. Our souls are here with our own agreement. I am fulfilling mine. And when fulfilling mine, it's not about me. It's about reminding you that we are not conditioned self that we've been living at, wanting, needing, suffering. Most of us are suffering because we ask for what we want and we're not getting it. We try and we go outside looking. And it's a natural thing that we're searching. It's
Hmm.
natural. So don't beat yourself up because somewhere in us, we know that we have disconnected from source in its greatest way. We know that. So we're searching for happiness, searching for peace, unknown why we're doing it. And so this is where the book came about.
If I
The,
can ask you real quick before you go
sure,
further,
yes,
were you raised in any type of religion, or did you know about, God or divine beings or any of that as you were growing up before any of this happened to you?
that's a grand question. We didn't talk about that at home. But my mother was smart enough, or divine great, that she sent us at 4 years old. I never forgot the age. I went to Sunday school and I heard about God and I heard about Christ and Mary. Let me tell you that God left a mark in me that became the golden thread in the tapestry of my life. In
Mm.
spite of all the wounding, in spite of all the healing, because as conditioned people, we have to go through those stuff. I was searching for God because they told me God is in heaven. So at 4 years old, I want to know where heaven is.
Right.
and and it came down to right now, I can tell all of you that God is everywhere, including in you. So when I was looking for God out there, I discovered through my own healing, through my own evolution, through my own journey, that God is here in
Hmm.
all of us. And that's a spark. That's the divine spark in
Hmm.
all of us.
It's so interesting that you happen to bring up that you were 4 years old when you discovered all of this, because one of and I vaguely remember this, but my mom likes to share the story that when I was 4 years old, that's my first time when they had put me into Sunday school. And so after Sunday school, they picked me up and they said, "Well, what did you learn today in Sunday school?" And I told them, "Oh, I learned all about Cheez-Its." And for those of you that may not know, Cheez-Its here in the United States anyways is a cracker. a cheese cracker, so to speak. And so I learned all about Cheez-Its. That's how I said Jesus's name. Well, then kind of like a full circle moment, I was in my early 20s and mid 20s, and I was teaching Sunday school at the church I was attending at the time. And I had the little preschool kids. And so one of the moms one Sunday had come to me and she said, Patty, Matthew, he's really loving your Sunday school class, but we're a little bit confused about what last week's lesson was. And I said, yeah, why is that? And she said, well, he keeps telling his dad and I that he learned that God is a string bean. And we've been trying to figure out all week what he's talking about, and we just don't know. So could you tell us how is God a string bean? So I'm trying to remember the lesson from the week before, and so I get out my notebook and I'm looking, and I just get this big smile on my face, and I said, "Oh, I taught them that God is a supreme being." And he heard, string bean, like I couldn't say Jesus and I said Cheez Its, so it's kind of like a full circle moment. But
It's
it's
funny.
but the thing goes right along with what you said. At 4 years old, learning about Jesus was a huge thing for me. And that's what started my journey of Christianity. And so to really find that you as well at 4 years old, I mean, another little common bond there.
I know we do. We do.
Yes.
Beautiful. And that's why we're here, expressing our divine self,
Hmm.
both of us.
So once you worked with this woman and all of this started coming up and coming out, uh, well, I guess I should say, through all those wounds and you knowing that there was a divine spirit, that there was God out there, when you were really experiencing your hardships, was your faith not something that was a regular routine in your life at that point? Or even with Christianity or whatever your faith base was, it wasn't strong enough to uphold all that was happening to you.
You see, going to Sunday school was the end of it. I didn't go to church.
Okay,
And I think I went to get the knowingness about God.
gotcha.
That to me, I think my soul felt. But the important thing is because of what my soul is here to do and the commitment that I had before birth. We all do that. Our soul have some agreement. Every one of us, by the way. It doesn't matter how you may think it's simple, but it's huge for you. So anyway, um, my whole thing was to empty the wounds and emotional pain that I was carrying.
Mm-hmm.
Because through that, I was going through a grand learning about the traumatized planet and what all of us are trapped in. So that's why God was in the back. But I was really a spiritual person.
Mm-hmm.
I started a successful business and still going today. And money was not a problem then.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not enough.
Mm-hmm.
My soul is calling me for something else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is. When one feels a calling, you must go explore it, go experience
Yes.
it, because you
Yes.
never know where it's
Yes.
taking you.
Well, and that goes right along with me eventually creating this podcast. Uh, you know, I really felt, and I know that the listeners have heard this before, but I really felt that I would be teaching until I was 65 to 70 years old because it was such a great passion for me and my purpose from the age of 6. And to know in my early 50s, kind of the catalyst that was changing my views was my father's death. And I started questioning a lot of things about me and myself and what I was doing and what my priorities were. And that's when I really started feeling that God was talking to me and he was preparing me to close that chapter of public education teaching because he had other doors he wanted me to go through. And I didn't have a clue when I made the decision to retire at 55. I had no idea what was going to be ahead of me. And that was the first time in my entire life I did not know what was going to be next. My whole life I had planned out for myself. Really, I know God had designed it, but I had followed that. And now here I was at 55 years old. I'm retiring from all I had ever known, and I'm looking at the unknown. But I just put my faith in knowing that he was the one that orchestrated this, and what was that going to be? And over the 8 years, as the listeners have heard me say many times on this podcast, it has been a remarkable journey of me rediscovering my passion and purpose and finding out who I am and how I can contribute to our world at large. And this podcast is part of that.
And you said you didn't know what to do. Well, for many, many, many years, I have said life is a mystery, and I still hold that. There's a mystery, the unknown. And once we follow the path, wherever we're guided to go, that mystery will unfold right in front of you. Like you
Hmm.
now saying, Patty, that now you know you have arrived at this place. You broke through the unknown to say, yes, I didn't know where I was going, I didn't know what I was going to do, but you followed, you opened your divine self to hear the call and to
Hmm.
feel it. And that to me is the most beautiful journey that any one of us can take. It's not about teaching, it's about experiencing.
Yes.
So,
And what I'm finding is that experiencing never goes away, at least not for me. I feel like all it does for me is it encourages me to continue to research and explore and keep learning. That's what excites me, and that is part of what I think the divine spark is also doing for me is to continue to learn on how I can pay it forward and how I can do the most good for not only my part of the world, but how I can touch it and have it spread from my part of the world outward.
yes, yes, that's beautiful. And so I just thought I would show the cover of my book.
Yes, excellent. There it is. It's absolutely gorgeous. Awaken to inner peace in the midst of chaos.
Yes. So that's my journey, and all of us have a beautiful journey once we get to that place and we know you feel it. You feel it inside of you, and it doesn't matter what someone else is doing. You
Hmm.
get it. So peace has been a passion for me. Peace, passionate peace.
Hmm.
And so awaken to inner peace in the midst of chaos. I can say it on the book, and I will write it in the book, but it wouldn't be meaningful if I hadn't arrived there. And I can say I live in peace.
Hmm.
And just this this wounded child, oh my gosh, who felt so insecure and not good enough. And all of those stuff that is sitting here and inviting you to open up to the possibility of peace.
Hmm.
Because you can. You
Hmm.
can.
And is that the crux of your book is teaching people how to find their inner peace?
Good. That's a good question. The book starts it's with showing you where we all have been in our condition here, in utero, going to details about that, and putting messages of the divine spark appropriately in the areas in which the conversation is going. then it moves into showing you and helping you with um, with freedom explorations, and there are 12 of them in there
Mm.
for you to listen. And that goes directly to my website where they'll hear me speaking
Oh, that's
about
cool.
that. So they can, yes. And it opens you to recognize that what you really are is never what you thought you were. So the book is so simply for people, all human beings, you get to see yourself in it. And little experiences of clients I've put in it where and all it's opening you to is that we have lost who we are and that we are nothing but this divine spark that is a light of love.
Mm-hmm.
We are love. We are not feeling love. We are love. And to get to that place, okay, then there are no what you call it. There are no one there that is it's someone who has hurt you. You don't have an enemy. That's the word.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, you have no enemy. You can see where people are and accept them for what they have done to you and to the world, because at that point, you know they are living as um, their program from their childhood learning on the world, their conditioned self.
Mm-hmm.
So that's no, that's what I think people will learn from reading the book.
So, did you have you always been someone who had a passion for helping people, or is this something that as you discovered your own divine spark, that's something that came out of that discovery is then wanting to pass that on and help others?
No, after I went through the majority of my healing, I did my self healing. I really opened, and my intuition became even more so. I was able to see where the block is in their body. I was able to touch it, and I would start releasing the emotions. I
Mm.
would get my clients to bring their children, little children, to me. I mean, just my soul opened up to want to have people become more at ease and not be so cluttered with their belief and their mindset. So I've always had that, but now I am moving more into dedicating. Now that the book is written, I'm feeling it. My mind has nothing to do with it. I'm in. I've become more integrated with the book, and so when I express, I'm expressing very openly, more so than I ever did, because I was into the traditional business world. And now I feel that I have moved into my own divine way in which I'm going to be of service. So I can say anything I want.
I think part of that also comes with as we get older. That's part of the wiseness that is that we can be more of ourself, and it's almost like you know that you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay.
What happened, actually, I think I think I'd say this because I'm such an open book. It's like a messenger came to me, unknown. He didn't know that either. When he told me that he helps people with their financial situation, and anybody I know who's having a financial situation, send them to him because he does not charge.
Oh my goodness.
That he doesn't know that because we're going to have a conversation. It hit a spark, and I was touched, tears. something shifted.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to my husband after the conversation. I hugged him and I was bawling.
Mm.
And I said, I can't do that. So I'm working on donation and I have a limit of donation.
Wow.
That changed my life, Patty,
Yeah.
because it wasn't just about that. I felt that I had moved totally into, I was my divine spark self.
Mm-hmm.
Because, where we are into that frequency, it's about sharing the essence of your being. And we really don't do it in the human world. We
No.
do it because we say, okay, this is how much I want to make this year, or this is what I'm working towards. And I'm not judging that in any way. I'm just saying where I am now, I have that sense of freedom to
Well,
say,
and I think sadly, a lot of times, especially in America, I can't speak for other parts of the world, but I think we think a lot of people go into it, well, if I do this for you, then I expect this back.
oh, yes,
And to be able to get to the point where you can give freely without any expectations of receiving anything back. I know for me that that's part of the joy that I get from that I'm not doing it because I have expectations of that other person. I give freely. If they give back, that I mean, what a blessing. But if not, that wasn't the purpose in me giving in the first place.
no. And that's the joy. Let me tell you, when you do it, at least for me, I got to feel a joy inside because I have offered to, and I had an interview with some, I just put it like that, and they went out well. And before I met them, we had this connection. And I said, I'd like, you're not well. My spirit said, you know what, I want to offer you a session. And she said, I couldn't take it at that time, but if it's still available, I'd love to.
Mm,
And it brought a joy in me that I would never have experienced before had I not done that.
yes. Yes. Exactly.
And and I commonly give away stuff because I happen to know things. I get a sense of things, just and I share it with people, and I- it's like I can't help to show you when you have a situation that I happen to see through.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway,
How wonderful is that? Um, what would you say it has been the best advice that anyone has ever given you?
wow. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, I'll just go to the awakened teachers because that's where I used to hang out a lot, to the
Mm-hmm.
awakened teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And they also remind you that your awareness is the essence of your being. They don't say it like that, but this is it. And I remember listening to one, and I guess I was so open to it that I got into this heightened compassion, heightened. And, I'm very emotional too. And this is not the story I was going to say, but my mother came to me during that heightened, and she had a physical feel her hand on my shoulder. She died like 40 years ago. And I cried out the emotions that she never got a chance to release. Because
Mm,
that's what I had been doing with people.
wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yes.
And what a
Yes.
and what a gift.
Yeah, I know. I'm humbled. A lot of people know a lot more than I do. And I listen to them with lovely, but things come to me, I'm very indigenous. I have an indigenous way about me. I've always been that way. I was different from the rest of my family. And that indigenousness never left me. So I have some shamanic tendency in my blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
And so things like that may not be I didn't expect it. And there was a time when I saw how my soul got into the baby's body, and I am sobbing because I felt trapped. I
Mm-hmm.
felt trapped because here was the soul, it's free, into a physical form. And that was another experience I had listening, and I got into that expansive consciousness that allowed me to be able to do those two things
Wow.
different times. Yes. So,
Very cool. What would you say that you're passionate about right now at this point in your life? What are you passionate about personally and professionally?
same thing personally and professionally. It's the same thing.
Good.
I I really have a passion to want people to see and to know that they're not a conditioned self. They're not a wounded child. That's my professional and my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm I can say that without judgment. I'm very devoted. I have a strong devotion,
Mm-hmm.
and that takes me into a very broad spectrum of where I see people and how I can allow and accept people to be the way they want to be, and I can have compassion for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what would you say your purpose is personally and professionally?
I said this many years ago, and I shut my mouth and I would not say it because I thought my ego couldn't take it. And I'm touched. Is to help people to break the code of human conditioning. And it's right in the cover of the book,
Mm-hmm.
freedom from human conditioning. And I didn't know how I was going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know. But when I got the messages and they all put together, I said, that's how it works. See, the mystery again, Patty, don't know. How am I going to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. And it all came to you.
So
So
that's my devotion.
so your purpose is all in that book and how it can
Yes,
help others.
yes, yes. I felt I have integrated with the book. I really have been saying that, and I think I say that with more knowingness as it goes along.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. So, Radavie, what would you say is your superpower?
What a good question. Is to really see people with compassion, allow and accept them to be where they want. Will never again knock on the door and say, you should.
Mm,
There's no should.
yes. That's what I tell people is don't let other people should on you.
Yes, that's right.
Well, that's an excellent superpower. How would you say that you are, most people hear the phrase living your best life. I call it living your best dash. So how are you living your best life?
To be at peace. Because when I'm at peace, it shows. It really shows. Because when I'm unhappy, a time ago, when I'm sad, it showed on my face. I think it shows
Yes.
everywhere, but your face is what everybody's looking at. So
Yep.
it shows, yeah, and
Very
that's my
good.
best.
Are there any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you would like to share with our audience?
just want to say to you, and remind you based on what we've been talking about, that you too, wherever you are, we are here to learn, grow, and evolve. And I really, really hope and wish that you will let go, move through the learning and the growing and begin evolving. They're all very important. We're here to learn the right and wrongs, the contrast. Contrast is very powerful.
Mhm.
And we're growing is when we start releasing, just like I did my self-healing. And then that opened me up more. I could feel, Patty, when I got the gifts, like my medicine bag came to me. I didn't understand that, but I know I felt it when my soul handed me. So we all have a little bit of a beautiful wisdom that our soul comes in with. Open
Yes,
up for it. That's what I want to tell you. Open up. Open
I,
up for that.
I love that. And I thank you so much for opening up yourself and being able to do that for me and those people that are going to be and are currently listening and watching this episode. Thank you so much, Radavie, for being my guest today. It has been a very enlightening experience.
Thank you so much, Patty. And I really opened my heart because I don't have any secrets anymore. That's the thing.
It's very
When you,
freeing, huh?
when you don't have any secrets, that's a sense of freedom.
Exactly, exactly. Please tell everybody how they can connect with you, because I know there's going to be some people out there that are listening and watching right now that they would love to get in contact with you. How can they
Oh,
do that?
okay, couple things. First of all, go to my website. It's really simple. It's radavie.net. And when you go there, I offer a 20-minute complimentary. Take it. You want to talk more with me? And then, I have I have a free freedom exploration for you to listen to get to at least familiarize yourself with what I'm talking about, that you're not a wounded child, who you are. So I think those things would be really, really, I'm offering you that. And my book, my book will be on Amazon. So maybe, Pat, if you put the name of my book there so they can go to Amazon to get
Uh,
it.
oh, yes, most definitely. If those of you, whether you're watching it on the YouTube channel or you are listening, in the description for this episode is not only the website that Radavie just mentioned, but there is also the link that if you would like to go to Amazon to order her book, then that link that is there in the description, you're able to do that as well. So there's a couple different ways. And I would totally take advantage of what Radavie just mentioned about the 20-minute conversation talk that you can have with her. Uh, I know that both times now that I have spoken with you, my soul feels enlightened. My spirit feels the joy and the divine spark I know is in the conversation that I have with you. And the same thing will happen with you. Those of you that choose to take her up on that 20-minute discovery call, you will find just in that 20 minutes what a difference that will make making that connection with her. Once again, Radavie, thank you so much for you being here.
It was really a moment of grace. And I just love to share with everyone and to remind you, we are one. Our sparks are from the one flame of God, source, divine, whatever you want to call
Divine spark. I love
it.
that saying. And I'm just going to keep saying it over and over again. And I'm going to make it a special little thing that's going to go from this post-it note on my desk to something bigger and better that I see
Oh,
more often. So thank you very much for sharing
beautiful.
all that you've shared with us today. For those of you out there listening, remember to subscribe and follow this podcast invite your family and friends to do the same thing. And don't forget, you can check out my website at www.pathwayswithpatty.org, and you can sign up with the chat with me if you'd like to hear about how I can help you, or even if you would like to be a guest on the podcast. You can also download my Pathway to a New Beginning roadmap when you go to my website. So until we meet again, continue to live your best dash and know that life's an adventure, and I want you to enjoy the journey because your life matters. Thank you for joining us today, and may God bless you all.